Have you ever wondered what to do with a bumper crop of carrots from your garden? Well, today I'm going to show you how to turn 25 pounds of carrots into 3 delicious dishes that will make your taste buds sing. Welcome friends, Patrina here with Homegrown Florida. I want to invite you to come hang out with me for the day because we have to figure out what we are going to do with all these carrots. Last year I planted half a bed with carrots, but I planted them super far apart and I ended up harvesting only about 5 pounds of carrots, which wasn't bad, but that only lasted us about 1 to 2 months. So I told myself last fall that I was going to do better with my growing space. I seeded half a bed so densely it became pretty impossible to thin. It got pretty wild in there. In December, I started harvesting some of the bigger carrots as a way of thinning to allow the smaller ones to get bigger, and that worked pretty well, almost too well. I harvested 30 pounds of carrots total from December to March. I currently have them stored in my garage fridge in plastic bags that are slightly open to help allow some humidity to escape, but not so much that they start to rot. There are not a lot of great ways to store root vegetables here in Florida since we don't have basements or root cellars, but I use my fridge. Because of this, usually I can keep carrots good for about 6 months. 30 pounds of carrots in 6 months means we need to eat a little over a pound a week. I'm determined to use this entire harvest and not let any go bad. So I wanted to show you how I'm planning on using this week's allotment of carrots in our meals. We're going to be making an entree, a side dish, and a dessert. The entree we're making today is called okonomiyaki. I think I'm pronouncing that right, but don't let the name scare you. It's basically just a Japanese vegetarian savory pancake made with cabbage, carrots, and green onions. I'm more of a flexitarian rather than a vegetarian. I have gone through phases in my life of being full vegan all the way to vegetarian, and now I just eat what I like. I love vegetables, so it's not a stretch that I love vegetarian meals. But don't get me wrong, I love a nice medium rare ribeye from time to time. So don't let the vegetarian thing turn you off. This dish is so good, and if you're missing the meat, guys, go for it. Crumble in some ground beef, chopped shrimp, or shredded chicken and mix it in. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to shred up this cabbage now. Don't laugh because this cabbage is incredibly small, but my cabbages this year in the garden didn't do quite as well as they have in the past. Either way, believe it or not, one of these little cabbages was enough for the dinner. So if you're using a traditional cabbage, it's probably only about 1/4 of a cabbage for this recipe. So I've shredded it up pretty finely here as best as I can with my knife. The next thing that we're going to add is our green onions, and I know it seems kind of funny to be using scissors to cut up my green onions, but this is how I do pretty much all my herbs, especially when I'm cutting them into the bowl for the recipe. Now, I'm also going to cut up some and put them to the side so that way we have that for the garnish on top of the pancakes. For shredding the carrots, I'm going to use my mandolin. I know this doesn't look like a typical mandolin, and that's because it's not. It is a safe slicing mandolin. So I had an incident many years ago where I was using a traditional mandolin and I actually cut the tip of my finger pretty badly, like to the bone. It was bad. And so my family was concerned for my safety using mandolins because I do use them quite a bit for, you know, the thin slicing or for like the julienne, like what we're doing here. And so they got me this safe one, and man, I use it every single week. If you guys are interested in getting something like this so that you don't cut yourself, I will leave that in the description below. I ended up adding 3 eggs to this recipe, although I think that 2 probably would have been fine, but the 3 kind of made the pancakes bind together a lot better than had I not. If you have fresh ginger, you'll want to add that now. I don't have the fresh stuff, so I just have some minced ginger, salt and pepper to taste, and then we're going to be adding all-purpose flour. I'm adding about 1/2 cup total, and you basically want the mixture to be kind of like a paste. We're going to let that mixture sit for just a second to absorb all that flour, and while we do that, we're going to heat up some oil over medium-high heat on the stove. Then you're just going to spoon over the mixture onto a very hot pan. So don't do it while it's cold. Once it's warm enough, then you can spoon that mixture over, trying to put it in a oval or round type shape. You can also do a much larger pancake if you prefer. I like the smaller ones, but like I said, you can do a full-size pancake if you'd rather do that rather than 3 of them like what I'm doing here. And you can see as I flip them over, it has that nice brown crispy edge. That's what you're looking for. That's gold right there. Now we're going to move on to plating. I'm going to take the 3 pancakes and layer them on top of each other. For a sauce, which you have to have a sauce with this one, it's so good. It's just sriracha and mayo mixed together, and then I thinned it out with a little bit of water so that it spoons on easily. And I paired that with rice that had green onions and then just salt, pepper, and garlic. Now let's make a very amazing side dish. It's basically candy, you guys. Maple glazed roasted carrots. Believe it or not, my husband never had roasted vegetables before we got together. He always ate them steamed. But I'm happy to report that I opened him up to a whole new world. The man eats all his vegetables roasted now. If you don't think you're a vegetable person, just roast them and see if you like them that way. Something really magical happens in the oven at a high temperature. There are sugars in all vegetables, and roasting them really brings out the sugar content in the vegetables, making them really, really good. For the maple glazed carrot recipe, I'm going to half my carrots lengthwise. Just be careful here because, you know, since they are rounded, they can get away from you when you're trying to cut them. After I've cut them lengthwise, I'm going to put them onto a baking sheet, and I'm going to start with them facing downward, so the cut size facing downward. We're going to spray them with a little bit of olive oil. Avocado oil would be great for this as well. Some salt and pepper over top. Then we're going to drizzle on some maple syrup. I had these extra bottles from a trip to Cracker Barrel and I can't let anything go to waste. I'm that person that saves all the ketchup packets and stuff like that when we get to go meals or something like that. So I had a bunch of these extra, and so I'm just going to use those up on these carrots. We're going to put them in the oven. That's at a 400-degree preheated oven. We're going to start with 20 minutes. And then we're going to take them out and flip them over so that way the cut side is facing up. Yep, we're going to sprinkle on a little bit more of the maple syrup and then pop them right back into the oven for about 10 more minutes. Now pay a really close eye on them during these last 10 minutes because that sugar that is in the maple syrup can really burn easily. So you want to make sure that you don't allow them to burn. Now the original recipe actually calls for brown sugar added to the maple syrup, but that would probably burn so quickly, so I actually skipped that and went straight with just the maple syrup. You can't have dinner without dessert. I was never a sweets person, but lately I've been on a kick for dessert, so I've been trying to get better at baking. I have always loved cooking. Something about cooking just came naturally to me, but baking has been a bit of a challenge. I don't like following recipes, but I'm learning. I'm totally sick of boxed cake recipes. They are just not the same as homemade. So I found this spiced carrot cake recipe that we're going to turn into cupcakes. I've got the mandolin out again, and we're going to shred up 3 full cups of carrots. I think this came out to be like 4 or 5 of my little stubby half carrots that you see here. You want a mandolin or even a food processor or a shredder block, one of those things, because you really want these to be super thin. And then you also want to cut them with a knife a couple more times, because what you're really trying to do is release a lot of moisture from the carrots. The moisture is going to be good for the cake. Now we're going to add 1 1/3 cups of all-purpose flour, a teaspoon of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, mix that together. Now the recipe called for like ground cinnamon and nutmeg and allspice, and really those are the ingredients that are in pumpkin pie spice. So I actually just used 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice for this recipe, and that came out good, although I probably would add 3 next time just to make it a little more spiced. A half a cup of neutral oil. You can use vegetable oil, but what I used is olive oil because that's what I had. A full packed cup of brown sugar. We're going to crack in 2 eggs, preferably room temperature eggs. Whenever you're baking, you want to use room temperature eggs rather than cold eggs. So just set them out on the counter for a couple minutes. Now the recipe calls for 1/3 of a cup of applesauce. I don't have applesauce, so you could also use sour cream. You could use yogurt. You could use a mashed banana. We're going to put in a splash of vanilla, and then we're going to mix all those wet ingredients together. Make sure to mix them up really good because you've got a lot of that brown sugar in there, and you want that to really dissolve into the egg and the sour cream. I've been pretty addicted to carrot cake and red velvet cake for probably the last 2 years. I honestly think it has more to do with the cream cheese frosting than it does the actual cake. I've never been kind of a chocolate cake fan. I know that's crazy. I know it, but I really, really love these cream cheese frosting cakes. And the carrot cake is really cool because it's got that spice to it. Now we're going to pour the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients, making sure to scrape all of that good brown sugar into the bowl. You don't want to miss that. We're going to mix it together really well. And once you have it completely mixed together, now we're going to add those carrots. When you're mixing dough like this, you want the wet and the dry ingredients to be completely incorporated before you add the extras. Like for example, this one is going to be carrots and pecans. And usually when I get to the carrot and pecan, or maybe you're adding berries or whatever you're adding for your cupcakes, whatever recipe you're doing, you want to fold in the last part. And folding just means you're kind of pressing it into the dough without breaking it apart, because you want those pieces, whether they be carrots or pecans in this case, or berries or raisins or whatever, you don't want them to fall apart. You want them to be the structure inside the cake. So that's why we're folding and not mixing or using a mixer for this particular piece. I have 2 cupcake trays here that I'm putting cupcake liners in so that I don't have to clean these later, which is the main purpose. And then I have a 2 tablespoon ice cream scoop that I'll use to fill these about 2/3 of the way up. Now, mind you, while I'm doing this, I have also preheated my oven to 350 degrees, which is what these guys are going to bake at. We're going to pop them in that oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. Just start checking them at 20 minutes. And if you didn't know this trick, the toothpick trick is how you know when your cupcakes are done. So you just insert the toothpick into the very center of the cupcake or cake, whatever you're baking, to see if when you pull it out, it comes out with nothing attached to the toothpick. That means everything is dry on the inside and it's cooked. Check out those cupcakes, man. You can see the carrots in them. That's awesome. Now we're going to work on my favorite part, which is the cream cheese icing. Now I'm only making half a recipe of the cream cheese icing right now because I'm going to put half of my cupcakes in the freezer, and the other half I'm actually going to eat and take some over to my mom's house for our Sunday dinner. So I'm using half a block of cream cheese and half a stick of softened butter. The bowl I'm using is probably a little bit too big for this, but we're going to make it work. We're going to do a splash of vanilla. And at this point, it kind of looks crumbly and not like what you would expect. But something really cool happens when I start adding the powdered sugar. And this is 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. So if you wanted to do the full recipe, it would be 1 stick of cream cheese, 1 stick of room softened butter, a splash of the vanilla, and then 3 cups of powdered sugar. I didn't even sift this stuff because honestly, all those little chunks that are in there from the dried powdered sugar will get broken up with the machine, and as you can see here, is getting very, very silky. It looks so good, and guys, it tastes amazing. Now bear with me through this process here because I really wanted these cupcakes to look cute for when I take them over to my mom's house. I have never done any kind of design on a cupcake before, so I had to go out and get some piping bags and some tips for the piping bags. And this is going to be my first shot at it. And you know, for being a first time person piping frosting onto a cake, I didn't think it went that bad. You know, I started to get like a technique around the third or fourth cupcake. It's all about the pressure that you're using as you're squeezing the frosting onto the cupcake and then overlapping your previous swirls. Now there's a lot of ways to do cupcakes. There's a ton of different kinds of tips. I think I'm using the ruffle tip in this example. Later on I moved over to the rounded dot tip, which was pretty cute as well. And just for decoration, I'm adding a few more of those pecans to the top. You guys, it came out so cute, especially for my first attempt of piping cream cheese frosting, which, by the way, cream cheese frosting tends to be a little softer than like a buttercream frosting, so it's not quite as pliable going on the cupcakes, so that's something to consider. I ended up moving the frosting into the fridge for a few minutes so that it could harden up a little bit better, so it would go on the cupcakes easier. So that's a little trick. As I mentioned, I don't have a desire to eat an entire carrot cake by myself over the next few days. So we're going to take these extra cupcakes that I didn't frost, and we're going to stick them in a Ziploc bag, and we're going to put them in our freezer. And I can pull these out at any time and make some frosting for the top and just have one or two rather than eating a whole cake. And check out here is our maple glazed carrots, our Japanese pancake dinner, and our cupcakes that'll be going over to my mom's house. We succeeded with our task to use our 1 pound of carrots for the week. Now I just need a bunch more recipes for the remaining 24 pounds of carrots. Head down into the comments and leave me a note what your favorite carrot recipe is. Thanks for spending time with me today. If you want to watch a couple more of my videos, I'm going to pop them up right here and here. You can check those out between now and my next upload. Happy gardening, guys, and cooking and baking.